Hi everybody, it's Pinky. I wanted to continue a little bit more with the series I was doing on Black Men and Women Unite. And in this segment I want to touch upon some of the issues with our youth today and add a little bit of balance to other things that I may have been saying. I'm going to get a little bit back into the history again, but I think that I'm going to bring up history of particular issues before I actually touch on the issue, and that's the best way to do it, I think, so we don't just end up in some big old history segment and it just, you know, ain't cool, boring, whatever. So today what I wanted to talk about a little bit was our youth and those who are faced with choices. And today, unfortunately, our youth are faced with much more serious choices that have much more serious ramifications if they so-called don't get it right than perhaps some things that older persons may have had to deal with. Now, in regards to younger girls who become pregnant, whenever that happens, there comes a choice, okay? That girl is going through a lot. Her and the boy whom she slept with in order to create this baby may or may not be, you know, real cool. They may not be mature enough to handle the situation, and then again, they may be. With that choice comes a lot of responsibility and a lot of burden, and I think that enough credit isn't given to those young people, not just girls but the boys as well, who do step up to that responsibility and do the best they can with the circumstances that they're faced with. I happen to know many young girls who have all had that same choice, and guess what? They did the right things. They did what they could do under circumstances, but their kids are fed, their kids are clothed, and they're doing all this legally, and nobody out there, you know, selling anything illegal in order to provide for their children. The young man sees his child all the time, if not picks his child up and keeps his child with him on occasion. The young lady is, you know, doing the best that she can within her own maturity level, either she's working or she's going back to school. I think that enough credit isn't given to those individuals because it's very difficult to come up under those circumstances. It's bad enough for our youth and our teenagers who are coming into adulthood to have to face those choices as to what they're going to do for a living, how are they going to get along and survive in this world without having the extra added responsibility as a child. Now, as far as children being mistakes, I personally don't believe that any child is a mistake. You know, I believe that each child that reaches this earth has some reason or purpose for being here on this earth. So I don't call it a mistake. Perhaps it was a mistake for those people who had the child to engage in sex, you know, without thinking of the you know, ramifications of it or taking necessary precautions. And in some cases they did take necessary precautions, but things just happened, you know. Perhaps that choice was a mistake, but the choice to keep the child and to raise the child, to me, is never, you know, a mistake. So I will tell you a little bit about my own personal circumstance. I did happen to have my child when I was young, my daughter, my first daughter. She's 21 years old now. But when I had her, I'll just tell you all, I was wild, okay? The person that sits before you today is only a mere shadow of who I used to be when I was younger. I had to go through a whole lot of circumstances and situations in order to reach a certain level of maturity, and trust me, it never ends. I don't believe right now that I still have arrived at, you know, how far I could go in making the proper decisions for me. Everybody messes up, you know. But when I had my daughter, I'd have to say that me deciding to have my daughter at age 17, I had her and then I turned 18 the next month after I gave birth to her. So I spent my whole 17th year pregnant, you know. And it was a choice. It was a struggle. Now, there were some things that I could have done. I could have chosen to, you know, get on the welfare system and remain there, or stay there as long as I could before they kicked me off. I could have chosen to wallow in the woe is me's and I got this baby and I don't know what I'm going to do and how am I going to do this and do that. There were a lot of things that I could have chosen. But, you know, for me, it was a crossroads, because I feel like if I would have remained on the path that I was on when I became pregnant, I'd be dead. I mean, seriously. I would not be on this earth. I would not have my beautiful child. And subsequently, years later, I would not have my son, who's only 9 years old. My daughter's 21. My son and I had them way apart. But I think for me in particular, that decision to do that forced me to become more mature, and the decision itself to have her and to raise her and to refuse to allow those things that trip me up infiltrate her, you know, as a parent, the best I could to protect her and to tell her, you know, what to look out for and what not to do or whatever. You know, I did the best that I could, and now I'm proud of myself and my choices. It was a learning experience for me. You know, my daughter now, she's in her 4th year of college, you know, and I can't do anything but be happy about that. And not because I forced her to go. It was because I tried to show her that she also has choices and options, and I didn't push it on her, but she knew by the time it was, you know, time for her to go, that this was one of her choices, and that's the choice that she made. So for those young people out here who are, you know, looking around at them, and there are some young foolish girls and boys, I don't even call them men and women yet, because they're not acting like it, okay? There are some young foolish ones who have these children and they really aren't paying proper attention to them. They really don't know what to instill in them, because nothing has been instilled by either their parents or whomever raised them. Nothing has been placed in them of substance, or if someone around them had tried to place something of substance in them, they rejected it, you know, which is also their choice. But I just don't believe that when a young person decides to have a baby, or the boy, you know, he's there as well, you know, when they have a baby, that it means necessarily a death sentence or, you know, a ghetto existence for them for the rest of their lives. Everything is a choice. Now, it will not be easy, of course, for them to, you know, go forth, because now they have a mouth to feed and they have to be responsible for that. But I do believe that they can still go to school, get, you know, jobs and training and whatever they learn to do. If they were into artistic endeavors, they can continue with that, as well as do whatever they're doing to provide. There are many options. And right now, I'm just happy that, you know, I do see lots of young people making those proper decisions. Some girls use their babies to get on welfare. Other girls use their babies to get Pell Grants, okay? So, you know, it's just a choice in their thinking and what they want to do. Now, as far as the man goes, you know, unfortunately, he can't get a Pell Grant because he has a child, or he's low income, unless they say he's self-sufficient and taking care of himself and a family, which means that he would have married the girl. But if he is married to the young lady, that option is available to him as well. If he has a family and they are so-called under a certain level of income, that man is just as eligible as that girl for a Pell Grant to go to school and to learn a skilled trade, or to get, you know, some tools, so that, you know, the man who's hiring will look at their applications and give them a better pay than they would have gotten without that piece of paper. You know, there are a lot of people who get along without a piece of paper at all in this world, and I wish I could have done the same. I don't believe that a piece of paper is absolutely necessary in order to have good, fulfilling employment. But in these days and times, it's just an extra added advantage, as far as I'm concerned, to go forth and do that. So for those kids, also for the kids out here who have not had children, who go to high school and graduate and have gone on to school or whatever, started their careers or apprenticeships, I just wanted to say that those children are out here as well, and they deserve our respect and our praise, because so often we see just the negative depictions of our kids, and we don't see, you know, these that are doing extremely well. And when we do, we see other people hating on them, like, oh, they trying to be white, they're trying to be, you know what, if you're trying to do your thing, I don't care what you're trying to be. you doing your thing. All right, peace, y'all.